Hey guys, Justin with Ready Business Systems. Today I just wanted to go over our hiring termination automation. This is actually version 2, so I'm going to go over some of the improvements we made. So here we have in version 1, the way this process worked is we had a job application. We had a bunch of hoops that job applicants had to jump through in order to basically get any of our time. So it pre-screened to automate a lot of our hiring process. So we have a job application hoop in which we require our job applicants to fill out our job application form. So no matter where the job is listed, whether it's Indeed, Facebook, Craigslist, they can't just click the Apply Now button. We redirect them and say you're automatically disqualifying yourself if you don't apply through our online application. So that disqualifies people who can't follow instructions. So we've always had that. Then we had an office admin approval BCI check. So she would get the leads in that would say this person's applying for a job. If their BCI check's clean and you're interested in hiring them, click here. So this was a little bit of a roadblock that would then initiate the hiring termination to happen. After that, the applicants were instructed, when she approved them, they're instructed to call for a phone interview Tuesday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This was yet another test to ensure that the applicants put in some legwork, they followed instructions. It would cut through people who weren't serious. So if they didn't call between 10 to 12 and we saw that they opened the email, then they were automatically disqualified. Lastly, we had in-person interview, which then if they did call in for a phone interview, we still made them come in for an in-person interview. During the in-person interview, we would pre-screen them again, just making sure they show up, they're reliable before we depend on them for work. And then we would then do an onboarding hoop, which is where they were actually processed. We'd actually double check their BCI, do their paperwork. They'd have to come in that day for their onboarding. So that was yet another hoop to make them jump through. So hopefully by the time people get screened through all these hoops, they're then pre-qualified and they're going to actually show up to work when you plan on them being there. So the changes to this version 2 is that we got rid of this office admin approval BCI. So I took some of the human component out of it because what was happening is that she was not pre-screening these people. She was taking it to her own hands to say, hey, we don't need anyone. We're not going to do these in-person interviews. I don't like this guy's background. Whatever it was, she was intervening and keeping this process from happening. So I wanted to make that a little bit more automated, make it happen. So what I did is I changed this process. So now she goes through the hoop. They go through the application hoop as before, but it's automated pre-screening. So we have questions. I'm going to go through all of this in which we pre-screen them in terms of their background, if they can get to work and those sort of things. Those are pre-screening them. If they pass this automated pre-screening, they're then automatically sent into the phone interview hoop to jump through. So they have to call in for a phone interview, and anyone who basically is pre-screened calls in. So now she just has to be reactive. She doesn't have to do anything. They're going to call. She has to pick up the phone, so she's going to pick up the phone and do the phone interview. And during this phone interview, there's a redundant pre-screening, so we're going to ask some of the same questions to re-qualify them to make sure they're pre-screened, that they fit our criteria for someone we want to work in our company that we haven't had trouble with. And then when she fills this out, it's automatically going to schedule them for an in-person interview. So it used to be this has to be coordinated with the manager. Hey, what time do you want them to come in? She would schedule it on the calendar. And then, again, that was another part where this process could fall apart. So by automating this, once she fills out the phone interview and they're pre-screened twice, they're automatically told to show up to the shop. It has very explicit instructions where to show up at 5 p.m. on Friday. When this happens, the manager is also going to get a text message letting them know that someone is going to be there 5 p.m. on Friday. On top of that, there's a sign up on the door that says, show up here. If no one's here, please call this number, which is the manager's number. Only after that, these people have already said their BCI is clean through their pre-screening, through the phone call and the job application. They're then going to get, the office is then going to do their onboarding, where they're going to do the BCI, just double check this person really is who they say they are, and they're going to put them through the onboarding hoop. So again, we got rid of some of this, these human steps in between that was stopping the process from happening, and automated it. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here's our job interview form. As we go through here, here's some of the pre-screening questions. Anything here that they don't answer what we want to, they're automatically be disqualified. So if they're not legally allowed to work in the U.S., driver's license will not cancel them, because we'll take people without a license as laborers as long as they can get to work. Can they lift 50 pounds? If they say no, then they're going to be disqualified. Do you have your own transportation? No, they're going to be disqualified. Do they have any drug or larceny related convictions within the past 12 months? If they say yes, they're going to be disqualified. Do you live 30 minutes away from our shop? If they say no, they're going to be disqualified. These are just things that we've found for employees that don't work out. So continuing on, and these other things have other triggers that I'm not going to get into right now. So this is what it looks like. So this lead will automatically pre-populate into your system. Dummy applicant, in this example, the applicant was disqualified. So if they're disqualified, they're automatically going to get the email that's going to tell them that they're disqualified. This one is not loading, but you can see, here it is, applicant disqualified. So it's going to create a to-do to let your admin know to close them out, because we have on our recruiting automation, they're going to continue to market to people who are qualified to try to get them to book their job. But if they're disqualified, we do not want to market to them. So this will create a to-do to tell your office administrator to disqualify or to close out this lead so they don't get marketed to. It's also going to send an email letting them know that we're all set, we've hired someone else. And in the other situation, when someone does qualify, say they live local, they have transportation, they can lift 50 pounds, etc., they're gonna get this email here that says we're interested in doing a phone interview with you. So this is where I was saying they need to call between 12:30 and 1 p.m. Tuesday to Friday, and this email will go out to them. So they'll also get the same time. Again, if they pass the pre-screen on the job application, go through those hoops, it's going to send this to do to the office admin, which is going to tell them to do a phone interview. They're scheduled to call in. And once they call in, it shows them how to fill out this field interview form, the phone call interview form, excuse me. So this is the phone interview form. So again, pre-screening questions here. If they weren't paying attention, just clicking off on their job application, somehow they got through, she's going to ask them on the phone again to pre-screen them to make sure they're qualified. So, and she's going to give her a little rating, a little questions, and once this is filled out, it will automatically schedule, tell them to come in for an in-person interview as long as they qualify. Again, if they answer the wrong answers to any of these questions, then you go back to the disqualification process. So once this phone interview is completed, it's going to send them through the automation to bring them in for in-person interview. It's going to tell the office admin to print up their resume, give it to the manager. It's going to text the job applicant, I'd like to invite you to come in for an in-person interview at our shop. It's going to give the address, give very explicit instructions. It also will, in the email, it'll email them as well just to make sure they get it. It's going to show them a picture of, it has a screenshot of the shop from a bird's eye view, an arrow where to go. And then on the door, we actually have a big thing here. It says meet here for your interview. And if present, call this number. So that's our version 2 of this hiring termination automation. I'm excited to see how it works. If you guys have any comments, suggestions, post them below, or any feedback on what else we can do to make your business better. Check out the website at readybusinesssystems.com.